Well, this is not what I was expecting, depending on if you're seeing this or not. I am still planning to stream tomorrow, but I might not, depending on how I feel. So, what I had wanted for the period of Friday, Saturday, Sunday was for the romance video I have planned to come out either on Friday or Saturday because I really like the script for it, and then have that video lead into the stream I was going to do. But to give you a really brief rundown of what occurred, I finished writing the script on Thursday, which was yesterday, and then I recorded, or rather, I made alterations and then recorded it um, to this night or tonight. And right after I finished it, an altercation arose, verbal one. Um, and I just want to make it clear that I don't instigate issues with this person every time there is an argument between us, which is still pretty rare. It usually would happen once a year, uh, because again, I go out of my way to leave them alone. Every time there's an issue, it's started by them. So they came to me, they started saying some stuff and told me to watch my tone because they were asking me all of these questions. I'm trying to like get away from this person because I know how they are. And I called them out of their name, which they've done to me plenty of times, but people always have double standards. So that's how that works. But I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that was said because I think it's so emblematic of the things I talk about on the channel. I did a video called I've Been Criticized for Everything, and in that video I was talking about how people have attacked me for my appearance, the way I look, my voice, all this different stuff. And you had a person there who attacked me over being unemployed, not having a degree, and just a wide assortment of things. They later got to attacking me over my appearance and trying to shame me for not being able to afford a home that was purchased by two people that were twice my age when they bought it. But just all kind of little stuff. And I wanted to kind of point out some contradictions and then go into a few grander themes here. So this person repeatedly insists that they're not my equal, right? Um, but they have this tendency to compare themselves to me. So, for example, they've asserted that they can pay for this home, um, and I would think if someone is supposed to be my superior or otherwise a person that is higher above me in whatever brackets they consider, to where they would call themselves not my equal, they wouldn't assert that I should be able to do the same thing because I don't compare myself to my father, who I know that is able to afford certain things I can't. But I don't do those comparisons because I don't consider that person to be my equal. So just like I don't compare myself to my brother because that's a child, who I don't expect to be able to do the things I can do. Again, assuming that I actually believe this person isn't my equal. If I think someone's not my equal, I don't have to say it. Um, at one point they said I was entitled. Now I've talked about the school situation with me before, that I stopped going because I couldn't afford it. And I talked about how I was so angry to do all of the work that I did to get into a university after attending community college, and then not have people who were willing to foot the bill, even as a collective group of multiple adults. And I always, I talked to my best friend, right? He's a person who goes to school, and he talked about how he wouldn't be able to afford attending there if he was not assisted by his parents. So if you're not able to go to those people for assistance, who can you depend on? And that's why I did the World Without Heroes streams, where I was talking about how, at least the first one anyway, the title's an artifact at this point, but in the first one I was talking about how you have these people who assert to you that you're not supposed to have something while they're saying that they want to assist you. So if you're not supposed to have this, why would you then be offering it? Like if I'm not supposed to expect you to do this, why would you then offer it? It just it's a great little mind buster there, a ball buster, I guess should be a better term used. Um, And I get so sick of this narrative because they've tried to convince themselves that I just decided one day I'm not going to go to school anymore. And I remember when I found out I couldn't attend anymore, referring to college, I had to remove myself from my home and just walk down the street to cool off because I was angry at the idea that I could do all of the work that was expected of me and then be led to not be able to continue, not because I wasn't doing my work, but because I had done it to such an extent as to be accepted into a higher institution of learning. And I gave the example of how, or the hypothetical rather, of if I had dropped out, let's say, in middle school or high school, people would instantly assume it was because I was not able to meet um, grading standards. I didn't do my work, whatever. And they would be correct because there's not a financial component to education. And it's really disturbing how so much of the time when people talk about higher education, they're not actually discussing learning something. It's just, can you afford this? Can you foot the bill for that? Can, just, it's no longer about what can you actually learn. It's almost as if they use having a degree as a red scare to try to convince you that the amount of debt you accumulate is worth the, you know, that this debt will supposedly all be paid off by whatever magic piece of paper you have. And of course, I was compared to. They mentioned these other people that had degrees, and I said, and again, all these people are my senior, and I was thinking to myself, well, if we're not equals, why am I being compared to these people? Again, another contradiction, but they're full of that. Um, I mean, it was just all over the place. They actually asserted that, or they I guess mocked me over, I guess, knowing big words and still being without a job, which I didn't know that your vocabulary dictated that your employment situation. I guess I should have brought up the source to the last interview I went to. But we really should talk about this because I want you to understand there's a thing of goalpost and how it's always to where you can never win. So again, this person is talking about the importance of school, right? I would guarantee anybody on this website, because we know that this person will shame someone for not having a degree. Even if I had a job, I would be mocked for the type of job that it was. Oh, well, I have one that I got with my piece of paper and you didn't. Ha. How much you willing to bet? And I will, if I can remember to post this article in the description, I'll post it. But there's an article by Pew Research where they state that the U.S. unemployment rate shot up from 3.8% in February of last year, among the lowest on record in the post-World War II era, to 13% in May, and that rate was the era's second highest, trailing only the level reached in April, which was 14%. So that means the unemployment record is factually, or the unemployment, the number of people unemployed is factually the biggest it's been in the last 70 years. And I really thought that, because, and I did videos where I show all the applications I put in, right? And I've offered for this person to look in my email at the over 100 positions I applied for, and they refuse. And they refuse not because I can't show them the proof of reality, as they assert a delusion of me just wanting to sit on my behind for however long it's been. They refuse to see this because it's not a convenient thing. But see, when you want to paint someone as being a person who is without redeeming qualities or otherwise is trying to pull off some kind of deceitful act, when you have evidence that is to the contrary, you don't want to see it because it hurts the narrative. So if I want to be convinced that someone is trying as hard as they can to just sit at home all day, I will purposefully not look into or ask this person if they've done anything to change their situation. And that really sucks for me because I can't make people hire me, especially during a time where it's not uncommon for people to be unemployed. I think that person's willingness to try to insult me over that is so awful that we could actually have a 50% unemployment rate and they would still, try to, it could be the highest it's been ever. and they would be like, yeah, this is you should have controlled this and stopped this. And look, when this was going on, I was screaming, I was so angry. But let's talk about why it is, to an extent, comical. And the other extent is that it's mean because, again, you get attacked by people online. You don't need it in real life. When you are a person who does something constructive or productive that requires effort, requires extraneous amounts of time, you can feel confident knowing that you're doing something with your time. Or otherwise, if you try to get something and it doesn't work out, you can still say, hey, look, I tried as hard as I could. And I can never look at the unemployment situation and feel bad knowing how many people are affected by it, and also how many times I tried to acquire a position. It just, you can't make me feel ashamed of that. And every person that's offered to assist me with getting a job, I've taken all of them up on their offer, and usually they run their mouth for a night or two and then never say anything about it again, and I go back looking for more stuff to apply to because I'm the one that's actually trying to change things. I find it really funny how you can have all these people just having these like well drawn out plans for someone to go to school, but if the person wants a job, they almost never discuss it. Because you know that if you don't have a position, they say that, you don't even have this, ha 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 ha. And a lot of times it's like a Frankenstein's monster. Situations create themselves. So one time I applied for a position and I was turned down because I didn't have a car. And the person who turned me down called me to see if I had one. And I was just thinking to myself, how would an unemployed person be able to lease a car, or if they own it, pay for the gas? Like, what sense does that make? But do you see how the situation you were already in influences the situation that you soon become part of? That it starts this other thing. But I want to also talk about the situation with what I do, and I want to make sure that everything is made clear to my subscribers. So when I do my show, usually with the newer episodes, they're about 18, 17, some double digit number of minutes long, right? I have to, on average, draw 500 to 600 pictures for each episode. I have to write the script. I have to edit it. I have to direct it. Um, there are a lot of hats that are worn when I make that. And I'm not saying any of this to blow smoke up my behind, but I think an objective person would say that there's a lot of work that goes into that. When I do a documentary, which I don't do those as often because it's really extraneous. Um, I have to get the script. I have to research. If the person doesn't have a book or some kind of previous thing that has all the information on them, I have to go to different news websites and dig up articles on them. If I do a edited video, whether it's on Dragon Ball or on the romance topic, I have to write a script that usually is several pages long, record the audio, cut out the times where I stutter because I'm only human, gather a bunch of pictures, and then make sure that the audio is in sync with the different parts I've cut out. There's different things that are involved with these processes, and it's so sad that you do those things, right? Because I think people, if they're being truthful, even if they don't like somebody, they'll say those are constructive things. This person makes something. It's crazy how you'll do those types of things that require effort. They require your mind. They require some level of dedication to see it from start to finish, right? And you never get any credit. The reason that I don't get credit for doing, well, I haven't told this person about any of the stuff I do because I know that as long as I don't get paid a significant amount of money to do those things, they're considered insignificant. Now, of course, I've thanked both of my subscribers that are on my Patreon. But if you notice, I never ask my subscribers to donate because I think if somebody wants to do that, they will. And I don't like to give off the appearance of trying to get something out of you for enjoying a video. And even now, as I'm really irritated by, what's transpired here, you don't see me asking for anything. But I hope it's understood that there is an objectionable effort that goes into these things. A lot of times during the day, it sometimes is a, what's a good way of saying it, a balancing act. You know, maybe in the morning I might do something for the show, maybe in the afternoon I might write a script for a video, might record, you know, some video to put up like this. But the point is that there are a lot of things that are juggled. And I even at one point, especially during this week, thought I had overexerted myself because I always felt like that, you know, you can't get to this because you want to do this other thing, you can't get to that because you want to do this other thing. So to have a person, you know, like assert that I just sit here is, it would be more comical if it weren't so sad, because they have to convince themselves that I am not productive to bash me, to make me the, you know, this moocher, this person that's trying to make a vacation for themselves. And you know, I actually had another individual come over here, who has convinced themselves that I just decided to take a vacation from school because that makes sense, to go to school for 14 years straight and then just stop doing it after you get into university. Makes total sense. This person asked me, do I ever think about the time I lost by, you know, not being in school? And I said, no. And I didn't say this to them, but I know that I wouldn't have stopped if I thought there was any possible way to continue. Wouldn't have happened. And also because it's hard for me to really feel ashamed of myself, because a lot of times I'll look at a situation or a circumstance and it always appears that, again, not toot my own horn, that I do everything that's in my power to get what I want. So when you're someone who wants a job, people tell you to apply, and then you apply, and then, you know, in a time of great turmoil economically, where there's these high numbers of people that aren't employed, higher numbers than there have been in literal decades, you're told that you're supposed to be embarrassed because you couldn't beat the odds that apparently a whole bunch of other people aren't dealing with too well either. When you go to school, for example, and you do all your work, so much work, and so well that you get into a university, and then you're not able to continue, and you have a person who tries to make you feel ashamed of yourself, or at least tries to make the implication that you should be ashamed of yourself for not continuing when the only reason you didn't was because of a lack of funds. And you know, I've had, it's really irritating, but I've had these people, right, and they say, why don't you just take them up when they offer something? Well, it would really hurt me on a level that, you know, I've only had happen a couple of times, to do a bunch of work, right, and to be congratulated for that work. As when you get into university, that's the feeling that you will often feel if you get into the school you want to get into, that is. And to then have someone say, oh, you did all that work, well, it was for nothing, I'm not paying for it. And you know, it's funny to watch the same group of people who are calling me entitled really, you know, be confused as to why I would say that these people don't care about me. They are posers. Because if I had a son or a daughter and they did all of their work, and you know, they got into university and I wasn't able to pay for it, I don't, you know, I just, with the example of my best friend, I don't know who's supposed to help you other than your guardian, your parent. I mean, hell, if I adopt a child, or you know, let's say, just I have a stepson or stepdaughter, something like that, and they do all of their work and they're not able to continue with schooling, I don't know who they would go to other than me. But yeah, I was just thinking about that. I said, you know, I do this show where I write every episode, I direct it, I edit it, I draw 600 something pictures for each one of them. I gather all the voice actors. I do documentaries where I research, I write out a several page script, I gather the pictures, I gather the videos that I need. I do edited videos on either Dragon Ball or romance, where I grab a bunch of different pictures and photos in addition to writing some several page script and cutting out all the parts where I stutter and make all the errors. And it's never enough. Like, and I guess maybe that's just the overarching theme of me, right? You do these things that people again, in any circumstance, would say are objectionably good or at least constructive, and you're told that you're lazy, that you don't do anything. And you're not told that because that's true, but because someone has convinced themselves that as long as they don't see you get up and, I don't know, go to some place in the morning, it doesn't count. Hell, I even had this person claim that I sleep until 12 in the afternoon, and I literally couldn't remember. I think I've done that maybe once in the last 8 or 9 months, because usually I like to edit my show in the morning. So whenever I die, I want it written on my tombstone, "Here lies the man who never got any credit." And it's hard for me to even get mad because, I believe in myself. When I look in the mirror, I don't see this person who um, decided to concoct a scheme to never have to do any assignments or, work. I see an individual who went out of their way to get certain things, right? A job, school, did what was asked of them, apply, do the work in class, and then, you know, kind of got screwed over. And I don't try to say this to make myself a victim or anything, but I look at myself as someone who has tried on everything that he's ever wanted. And instead of people saying, well, maybe this is a more nuanced situation than I'm letting on, they have to convince themselves, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Look, I thank my subscribers for watching me. I don't try to ask you guys anything financially because I'm not a beggar. But I just want it to be understood that when I do a stream, when I do a video, when I do something that is recorded, there is a lot of frustration and behind the scenes nonsense that goes on. And it makes doing this stuff become more stressful than it should be. And again, I won't quit over this or anything, but I just wish that when you did something, right, people gave you credit for it. And it doesn't mean, oh, you don't have to, because I would never try to substitute a real job for this. Because again, it's not stable. But I wish that when you did things, right, that required effort, people acknowledged it. They never do. It's not because they can't see it or it's something you've kept so elusive from them, but rather because they want to believe, hey, what was that song I sang? Make me feel tiny if it makes you feel tall. They want to put you down to, raise themselves up. And it just doesn't work on me as far as, making me actually have a problem with who I am. But at the same time, it is sad that I really believe I try to do different things. And it's just so rare for me to just have a day where all I do is sit down and watch something or play a game. Like every day I'm writing a script or editing my show. Like, again, you never get any credit. Like, I don't even know why I record this. I might go and do a stream tomorrow, or rather today, because it passed the Saturday as I was recording this. But I just want it to be understood that I try. And I think the best thing people can do is try, because when you give as much effort as you can to something and it doesn't work out the way you would have liked, you can be more confident in your resolve. Maybe I would feel bad about being unemployed if I didn't apply to over 100 jobs in a year. Maybe I would feel bad about not being in school if I didn't leave because I couldn't afford it. Maybe I would actually think I don't do anything if I didn't do a show where I wear all these different hats or edit videos where I have to write a script and, record and cut out pieces of audio. And, that's why I said so many times in life, it just seems as if living, right, is this thankless thing that you constantly exert yourself. You do this stuff that somebody else might like it or you might like it personally, but it's never enough. There's always these critics. And that's why I said when I did the video, I've been criticized for everything. It really feels that way, that, you're always going to have a person that tries to make you feel bad about yourself. And I'm more disappointed by the fact that I try to avoid this person because they are this way. And the fact that I do try to make something out of myself, even if my videos don't get that many views, especially the edited ones. You can tell there was effort put into it, and that's all I believe in. Just try, and that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to try, and I have been castigated for doing so by people who are uh, ignorant of the various things I'm wrapped in on here, and who just want to make me out to be less than what I am, which is an individual who has fought for the things that they believe they should make. So thanks for listening. I might stream today, I don't know. I wish this would be over. I wish that it wasn't so difficult to get a job. I wish that I could get away, but whatever. Thank you for watching, and you always have those people that just you have to be the antagonist. I really hope that when I make further content at the various points, that at least people will say thank you or good job, because it helps. And I really, when I resolved myself to do things on this website, it was for the purpose of trying to be productive at all points. And I'm sorry that I can't make people donate to me or have thousands of views or anything, or make places hire me, but I can only control what I do, and I'll always make my stuff as long as I breathe. I just wish that I wouldn't get castigated for things that were out of my control.